Hello, folks. I am back, and this is going to be my year in review for 2023 on firearms. I do this every year, so it's kind of like an award show for what I think are the most interesting firearms of the year and certain things. I want to mention this straight out. I do not own a lot of these firearms. Some of these firearms that I'm talking about, I do have experience with. I work at a firearms store where I am able to touch and also shoot these firearms. So I have shot these firearms extensively, and also it's not like I am looking at a website and saying that I like this, that, or the other, and surmising. These are actual firearms that I've actually put some trigger time to. So with that said, let's start off talking about a couple firearms that I would have liked to have shot more. One was the 6-hour Spear LT. The 6-hour Spear LT was a firearm that I did shoot but didn't get a lot of trigger time and had some arm issues. So that was out. I wanted to also shoot the IWI Carmel, and I don't think we'll be getting any of those no time soon due to current events. So let's start this straight out. I'm going to talk about technology. This is the first category. And the first category in technology is anything that a company tries to do to improve a firearm, whether it's a different part or anything of that nature. So excuse me moving the camera. Again, I don't own this firearm. This is the Springfield Armory Echelon. Now, the company Springfield Armory has tried to revitalize certain things, and one of them is this area here if you're looking at the cursor. So this area here is a pin system instead of using a plate system for various optics that you can install on your firearm. And I really like that concept. It has been a little confusing for a lot of people how to use that pin system, but I think it's a good idea because a lot of people are trying to use plate systems and whatnot. And this is a different approach instead of people buying plates. It might not be perfected, but I see a big future for this going forward. One of the things about it is that this will be something that I think all manufacturers may or may not follow, but it's a good shot that Springfield Armory is going to do this. It's not our winner for the best technology at this point, but it is a really good chance, and they are the runner-up. Excuse me, my throat. But here is the winner. The winner is going to be, for the technology portion, is going to be the 6-hour AXG Legion and the comp. And what I'm showing you here, this is the comp right here. 6-hour likes to call this an pretty much like an expansion chamber or whatnot. When the gases go down and the unburnt powder comes through, the gases will escape out, leaving this for a flat shooting firearm. Majority of firearms that have compensators on there, they're an external piece that you add to a threaded barrel. And a lot of times what the problem with that is you will have to pretty much get shims to time it to make sure it's even. Another issue with those is a lot of times there are multiple malfunctions because you have to match the right bullet grain with the firearm so it can cycle properly. And there are spring issues too. So the combination of the spring and what you're shooting becomes an issue. With this, with the AXG Legion, you're not going to have that problem at all. You don't have to time anything. You don't have to add different springs. This is going to shoot with no problem, and it will accept any ammo. So far from what I know and what I've been testing on the range. So I've shot the rental one for quite some time, and then now I have this one. So the winner for the technology goes to the AXG Legion. Okay, moving right along, I'm going to skip over to what I consider the Firearms Company of the Year. The Firearms Company of the Year is definitely going to be FN. FN brings out a lot of different products. And the good part about them is they bring out products slowly. They don't try to overwhelm you with a product every week or anything like that. FN has a great reputation with the military and with some of their products, as you know, with the SCAR and so forth. They've even expanded the line into working with suppressors. Some of the products that they brought out were that they reintroduced. One was reintroduced was the FN High Power, which is a great firearm, and they used a modern take on that. Also, with the new introductions of the 510 and the 545, which respectively are the 10 millimeter and 45 versions. So this is going to this company FN is going to be my winner for Company of the Year. Okay, moving right along, we are going to talk about the Gun of the Years. Now, there's going to be 4 in the category. I'm going to start off with number 4. Number 4 is going to be the FN High Power. This is the newest version. I like the FN High Power. I've shot this one a lot. I'm really digging it because I really like the old style high powers, but this is a new version of it. It's a modern take. By the way, this firearm and all firearms have been previously safety checked. They came out with a 17 round magazine. Add a little differences on it. My favorite is I like the slide release on both sides. That's really, really cool. It's the way it's designed. That's why I like it. And the problem I see with the FN High Power, the new version right now, is I think it requires a certain type of shooter or niche group to purchase this. I don't know how many sales they've done on this, but from what I see on YouTube, there's not that many videos with owners owning this. But I listed as number 4 because it is a very decent shooter, and I really like the way it performs. And you're getting a quality firearm with the crown barrel here. And other companies like Springfield Armory, they've put out their own versions of their high power with the SA35, which I think is a little more successful. But at the same time, it's closer to a real clone of the high power. But this version is supposed to be a modern take. So this is number 4 as Firearm of the Year. And while we're talking about FN at this point, as you see here, we have here the FN 510. The FN 510 was a 10 millimeter that I shot that I really, really enjoyed shooting. And it's pretty interesting how this thing shoots. It's a soft shooter. It's a very accurate firearm. And even the 45 version of this is a very good firearm. What I see in these firearms with high capacity, great shooters, and one of the things that I used to own an FN 509 tactical, and the thing I didn't like about it was the trigger. And a lot of times with the trigger, I'm not a fan of hinge triggers at all. Not a fan of them, whether it was on the Smith & Wesson or whatnot. So I end up, a lot of people who had the FN 509, they usually end up putting an Apex trigger in it. I eventually sold it, but usually the Apex trigger was a good replacement and made the gun perform a lot better. But one of the things that FN did was they improved the trigger. Now, I don't know how they did that. It's still the hinge trigger, but on the 510 and 545, the trigger is so much better than the 509. You can buy a 509 right now, and guess what? That trigger is still the same as previous, but on the 510 and 545, the trigger feels so much more crisp. Great reset. So this is why it's going to be number 3 in my list of Firearm of the Year. Switching gears, we're going to go back to a firearm you saw before. Number 2, it's going to be, yes, the AXG Legion. I love shooting the AXG Legion. It feels like a flat shooter. I didn't think Sig could do any better than the X5 Legion. I own those, and I thought it would nothing could do any better than that. But with the AXG Legion, with its comp or expansion chamber, this thing cycles very well. It also is a very good flat shooter and very accurate, which is the most important thing. The trigger is fairly decent on here. Some people complain that it's not as good as a PPQ trigger. You're right, it's not as good as a PPQ trigger, but this is such a awesome firearm in itself. So I'm not going to say too much more about it, but it is my number 2 firearm of the year, and you'll be seeing more of this. And last but not least, the gun of the year to me is going to be the Echelon. Now, I've shot the Echelon over at the range, a really nice firearm. To me, some people consider this like the bigger version of the Hellcat Pro. But to me, this is a different experience with it. Not only I told you about the pen system, but the shootability is very good. I shot very good groups. If you look at my videos on all these firearms that I'm talking about, but when you look at the Echelon, when I was shooting, I shot very tight groups. It's a very good shooting firearm. One of the things is I really like the slide. That was the one thing that got my attention, is this slide. The slide feels good. This right here in the rear reminds me of the cocking serrations that are on the VP9. The grips with the serrations here are out, to me, are very good. They're very good and serviceable. I think one of the things was that Springfield Armory wanted to upgrade from their regular line of XD striker firearms. And plus, they wanted to get into the law enforcement market. And law enforcement was crying for something a little different to be in the running. And I think they have a chance with this firearm. I really like I said, the serrations. You have the Picatinny rail, and also there are upgraded versions of this that come with threaded barrels. Okay, folks, I don't want to take too much of your time again. This is just my year-end review, in my opinion. Sound off in the bottom below. Let me know what you consider the firearm of the year is, or what you would think were the best features of the year for firearms. With that said, I'm going to say happy shooting, stay safe, #2A.